Well, welcome everyone to today's webinar, A Lesson in Biology. My name is Brigitta Hoeferle. Welcome to my home office. Yes, those are our little receivers. No, my husband received from me probably last year sometime a green screen, and he decided after we've moved in to our new home that he is absolutely going to put that up in the space that we have right now. And they are kind of in the space. So we'll just utilize them as my backdrop. Welcome everyone. My name is Brigitta Hoeferle. I'm super excited that you're on with us tonight. And as I promised you on Facebook and in my introduction, I am going to bring you a lesson in biology, but what does that really mean? So we're not talking the biology that we learn in school. We're talking about the biology that we learn in life, in business, the Buyology. And when I say biology with a Buyology, as in buying, we really want to look at what triggers a yes and tripwires a no in any decision-making progress or process. And, you know, when I've been in business for a long, long time, I mean, I came to the States 13 years ago with a business plan in my back pocket to start a Montessori school. And if you don't know what a Montessori school is, it's okay. You don't need to know. You don't know everything. You can Google it later. And I have very successfully sold 70% of the school last year, so I still hold some shares in the business. And would I have loved to heard this information like 20 years ago? We all know that everyone is in sales, or at least I hope you know that everyone is in sales. And that's not an overgeneralization. That is actually a fact. The other day, I was talking to a lady who's a nonprofit, and we were having just a very casual conversation, and she says, I hate sales. And I said, well, honey, you got to start liking sales because you're in sales. And she says, no, I'm not in sales. And I said, are you a mother? And she says, yes, I have 3 children. And I said, newsflash, you're in sales, big time. Because when we are selling or when we are convincing our children to clean up their room, to put the dishes up, to groom the dog, whatever it is that we're convincing, selling them, we're in sales. When you're an employee and you are making a point to another employee or to your team lead or to your boss, your manager, whoever it might be, you're selling them on your idea. You're with your spouse. You're constantly selling and being in that decision making and relaying that this is what I want and I want you to have it too. I want you to want it for me. So we're all in sales. Can we agree on that? Well, today, and I'm going to keep this very, very short for a half an hour, and welcome to everyone that's also tuning into the recording. I'm going to bring you the secret, the science, and the system, and also the solution to increase all of your sales up to 300%. That's a pretty bold statement, wouldn't you say? I certainly thought the same thing. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more where that 300% comes later. As you all know me, as I said earlier, I created a Montessori school. I built it from the bottom up. I sold it successfully. We moved to Atlanta not long ago, a little bit over half a year ago. And for my return friends and listeners and watchers of my webinars, you probably remember I broke my wrist pretty severely right after we moved into this new house that we live in Atlanta right now. And I did some webinars that are absolutely hysterically funny because I did them because I'm so committed when I was completely high on drugs right after I got out of surgery. I had 2 surgeries on the wrist, and I'm healing very, very well. So thanks to all of the shout outs from you guys. What I'm saying with this is I'm as ordinary as you are, and I have no special power. All I have is an 8-ball that I'm going to go through here in a minute. And yes, I have an actual literal 8-ball, but I also have like the magic wand or cape that you could put on so you can start understanding what drives people. What triggers a yes and tripwires a no? Because there's a genius behind that. And if you look up genius, you got to study people, 3 to 5 people that are all doing the same thing. There's a success pattern to that. And I'm about to bring you some of that success pattern to you. Like I said, the secret, the science, and the system. How many of you have heard that sales is a numbers game? And in order to get more yeses, you need to get more what? No's. Well, I got news for you. That's bullshit. Yep, I said it. In order to get more yeses, you need to get more what? Yeses. Exactly. So when you've probably all heard that sales is a numbers game, but quite frankly, sales is a people's game. And when you can build rapport with someone quickly and speak their language, weil wenn ich jetzt mit euch Deutsch reden würde, dann würdet ihr überhaupt nichts verstehen. So if I would speak German to you, you would understand a word, which you literally just did or didn't, then I cannot build rapport with you. It's the same within our English language or any other language that you might speak. We are put into 4 temperaments. This goes back to the science of this all, and it goes back to Hippocrates 2,500 and some years ago. He put humanity in 4 temperaments, and personality tests and personality assessments and what all is out there, they're exactly the same of what we do here, only completely different. And here's the difference. What I'm talking about today is bank is the only methodology in the world that is scientifically validated to predict buying behavior and decision making in less than 90 seconds. Ooh, another bold statement. Yes, I'm bringing bold statements to you today. Tony Robbins said it so well, and he said, let your participants, your prospects, determine the presentation. Now, what does that mean? It means that when I present, who do I present it out from? Out of which experience, out of which language, out of which modality, out of which dominant code? I'm bringing it out of my own. I speak very high action, as you can tell. Ich könnte auch wieder auf Deutsch umschwenken, weil das ist meine Muttersprache. I could also speak in German because that is my mother tongue. That's most known to me. And that's what we do. We speak the language that is most known to us. And when we go into the four personality types, which I'm going to go through here in a second, you're going to see, oh, that is totally me, or that's not me at all. And I'm going to bring you a little bit more information on what that really means. Let your prospect determine your presentation. I want to throw one more thing in before I go into this. Robert Kiyosaki said, the ability to sell is the #1 skill in business. I'm going to top that. The ability to sell whatever it is that you are bringing across, you're actually selling it for product against money, or you're actually selling an idea, it's the #1 skill in life. If you cannot make a point and allow the other person to at least understand where you're coming from by speaking their language and not having the entitlement for you to say, well, they need to speak my language. That's not what this is about. So let me go into the how. Let me go into the system, because this is the system, and it's so super simple that you're going to go, why didn't I think of this? So when I said bank earlier, it has nothing to do with bank, with your actual bank account, but it has everything to do with your bank account. And I will come to that later. Bank stands for blueprint, action, nurturer, and knowledge. And I'm going to go and tell you really quick that it is based on values, what the values are of a blueprint. And I want you to listen very closely. And I hope that you have something to write on and write with, and for you to take notes going, yep, that's definitely me, or nope, that's not me at all. So the values of a blueprint: stability, structure, systems, planning, processes, predictability, responsibility, duty, rules, credentials, titles, and tradition. That is the blueprint. Action: freedom, flexibility, spontaneity, action, opportunity, excitement, attention, stimulation, competition, winning, fun, and image. Action. Nurturer: relationships, authenticity, personal growth, significance, teamwork, involvement, community, charity, ethics, harmony, morality, and contribution. That is the nurturer. And knowledge: learning, intelligence, logic, self-mastery, technology, research and development, science, universal truths, expertise, competence, accuracy, and the big picture. Now, the system is predicting buying behavior and decision making in less than 90 seconds. How, you say? Very simple. I did it today at a networking event again. I went through a script that is also talking to each of these codes, and I want you to pay really close attention. The script is, please look at this information. Speaks to the knowledge, information. Read the values and sort them in order from most important to least important. Speaks to the blueprint. Put it in order. Blueprints love order. This will help me, nurturer, serve you better. This will help me serve you better. The nurture is all about being a great servant. And it will both save us time. The action is all about the, get to the bottom line. Let's do this, ready, fire, aim, and be done with it. So all you need to do is hold this in your hand to someone. When someone asks me, what do you do, Brigitta? It's exactly what I do. I go into the script and I hold them the cards. Not one person has said, no, thank you. Because guess what? Everyone, and that's not an overgeneralization either, everyone likes to talk about one person and one person only. And who is that? Themselves. So this reveals the information to the prospect that I'm handing it to, and then they're going to go, okay, here you go. And then they hand it back to me. They hand me back the cards in the order that they have sorted them from the values that are most important to them to the values that are least important to them. Now, okay, what are you going to do with that information now? It's great that you now know who you're talking to. How can you adapt your communication? And how can you adapt understanding what you really need to say to that person? Let me give you an example. I'm a high action. I'm a very high action. I'm also a very high nurturer, and I can switch my nurture with a blueprint if business strategies needs me to switch into my blueprint. As my high action, if I go in I'm going to put my red glasses on just to amplify it, in my action state, in my state of mind in action, just kind of bulldoze over everyone, and I go to a knowledge person in my rah, ready, fire, aim, we got to do this, we're going to make $1 trillion. And the knowledge person says, excuse me, I'm out. Because that is, with the first 5 seconds, just in my behavior, I've lost the knowledge person. A knowledge person is usually, very logic, standoff, kind of just lets it sink in and study all of the information, all of the blueprint. They don't just read I had a white paper here earlier. Where do I have it? We have our white paper here, and that's only the little version, or the extracted version. There's a 37-page that we have, and you're welcome to ask this if you'd like to read it. If you're knowledge and you like to read it, ask me for it. They'll read it 3, 4, 5, 7 times, right? So rather than me going, I know that the person that I'm talking to is a high knowledge. Guess what? Now I can put my knowledge glasses on, and it's almost like I'm speaking a new language, and I'm speaking knowledge to a knowledge. So he or she can actually understand what I'm saying. I'm bringing my voice down. I'm going to bring all the facts. I'm going to bring all the data, all the statistics, and I'm going to shut up. I'm going to keep my distance because, again, knowledge people just like to they're in their own world. Sometimes we, like to be a little funny, and we say that's their salute. There might be some, I don't know, there's some humor in there, and there's a little bit of reality in there. I don't know. Just trying to be funny a little bit. But putting on your knowledge glasses when you talk to a knowledge. Same thing to a nurturer. How often have we had contact with someone that just needed a hug? And by just hugging them, build rapport. If you're a high knowledge, I'd say suck it up, buttercup, and give that person a hug. So all of this is just merely scratching the surface of what you really can do with the BANK program, with the bank code program. First of all, I encourage you to crack your own code if you have not done that. And I'm going to put it in the chat box here of what you need to punch in. So I'm going to put www.mybankcode.com/Hoeferle, Hoeferle. That is where you can crack your code. You can also, if you wish, have these to crack your code and crack everyone else's code. I'm selling these for $25. What you need to do is put your email address here in the chat box, or just simply email me, and I'm going to put this in here as well, to Brigitta@Hoeferle.com. Brigitta, which is my first name, Brigitta, @Hoeferle, Hoeferle.com. And in the subject line, you're going to put down bank cards. I need your full email. Of course, when you email me, I already have that. I'll need your email, and I'll need your actual shipping mailing address so I can send you these cards once you have paid the PayPal invoice that I'm going to send you of $25. So I'll send you the PayPal invoice once you send me an email, and then you pay the PayPal invoice, and then once that's paid, those will be on their way to you. And you can utilize them. You can always go back to this recording of this webinar where I'm going through the script, or just reach out to me, and I would love to give you the script or teach you the script as well. Let's see. Oh, I also, don't want to forget this, have these cards with the values that are written on them. Well, if I have them all correctly, with the values written on them. I have them as kids cards as well. They have little symbols on them, so kids can actually go through them and look at the symbols. Now, today in my presentation at this large networking event, I said, can you imagine if every teacher would crack the code of their student? Hey, Dalzinia. If every teacher would crack their code of their student and also of the parents, can you imagine what kind of good that will do moving forward in the life of the teacher? Teacher doesn't have to figure out where's the child coming from, which value system does the child function in. Same with the parents. Same with administration. Just in the education system alone, could you imagine what these cards will do for the lives of children and the lives of parents and teachers and admins? And that's just one area. There are so many other areas. It's really not about one or two industries that we can utilize this technology, this methodology, if you will. It really is utilized everywhere, in relationships, in churches. Oh my gosh. Imagine a pastor speaking all 4 codes. My dad was a pastor and missionary, and unfortunately he passed away many years ago, 4 years ago actually. And he was a high action. Oh my gosh. He was like ready, fire, aim, in your face. One time, I think I was about to fall asleep and he threw the Bible at me. Well, I didn't fall asleep anymore. But anyway, so if every pastor would be able to speak all 4 codes, holy cow, can you imagine? If every HR person would have these cards or the technology to crack their team members' codes, can you imagine how little of quarrels they would have coming to HR? You know, we can't fix the world completely with these cards. I'm just going to be really blunt with you. However, I know it could do a lot of really good in communications with each other. And that's really what it boils down to. I'm an NLP trainer and master practitioner. I'm all about communications. I'm an educator and I have a marketing degree. So communication is really key. And if you do not master what falls out of your mouth so that the person who's listening to you can understand it, then you have completely failed your purpose. It is not about the other person understanding you. It's you coming from within yourself to make sure that it lands correctly with the person that you're talking to, with the person that is listening to you. And I did a webinar here within the events on Facebook. You're welcome to listen to all of our recordings of the webinar. And one of the recordings or one of the webinars that I have done in the past is called Listening is the New Selling. That's what I called it. It's a great webinar. Listen to it. You're going to learn a lot. And if you only learn one thing, I've again learned one thing today as I was out and about, and I always celebrate the things that I learn. Before I let you go today, because I said I was going to take it, really quick, I want to have you back next week on Thursday evenings. We always have it Thursday evenings at 7 o'clock. I always check Facebook as well because I think I'm doing an event next Thursday. So sometimes I have to do it later or I have to postpone it to some other time. But usually I do my webinars on Thursdays at 7 o'clock. I always make it fun. I always bring a lot of value. And I'd love for you to stop by and bring someone, share the heck out of it, tell others of what you learned. The 8-ball, where is it? The 8-ball of knowing what to say and what not to say to others so you can increase sales by 300%. And now that you have the cards, where did I put them? Now that you have the knowledge of the cards, you also now know why it's an increase up to 300%, because if we only speak in our dominant code, if I only speak to you always in action, which I have done majority of my life, and I thought, man, I can say one thing to one person and it's totally fine. And I can say the exact same thing to another person. And that person is so turned off. And I don't know why. I don't know what I said. I said the exact same thing. Yes, you have said the exact same thing. Only your listener is now a different audience. What turns an action on turns a knowledge off. So as an action, as I'm talking as an action to a knowledge, I need to fully understand that that person is a knowledge to adapt my communication to not turn that person away. So if I can manage to learn the other 3 codes, to speak and write and think the other 3 codes in addition to my dominant code, that's where the 300% increase comes from. And that's what great genius salespeople have mastered. And Sherry Tree was the genius to decipher it and put it in a system so stupid simple. I'm sorry, I can't say it any other way. It's just absolutely incredibly simple. And as I said earlier, I am an NLP trainer. Some communication models are just not as simple. And I'm glad that she broke it down so then we can go deeper into a communication with a person. One last thing I want to mention, I will have my big event coming up December 12th. I'm going to post this here, and I'd also love for you to share the heck out of it. If you are in Atlanta or you know anyone in Atlanta, please, please, please share it on Facebook. You can go on my page and share it from my page. You can, post it on your own page, whatever you want to do. Here's the flyer. I hope I can paste that in here. Let's see if that works. December 12th at the Marriott Century Center in Atlanta, in what is it? Yeah, it's North Druid Hills. So it's on I-85, Atlanta, December 12th at 9 o'clock. We start registrations at 8:30. I will be there, and I would love for you guys to be there. Delzinia, hey, if you want to make the trip up, kudos to you. I'd love to have you. And please, please share it with all of your folks in Atlanta. It's going to be epic. It's going to be sold out. Our room caps, they already told me, the fire marshal's not going to allow more than 120 people in there. So, keep your fingers crossed that they won't throw us out. But that event will be sold out, and I'm super, super excited. I'm excited to see you there. Like I said, share the heck out of it. It is on my Brigitta Hoeferle page, brigittahoeferle.com, why-they-buy-event. So why they buy event. You can also find it as why they buy event on Eventbrite. Actually, I was hoping that I could share my little flyer, but if you just go on my Facebook page, you're going to see the flyer up and down. It's also in the event section of my Facebook page as well. It's the Why They Buy Summit on December 12th, 9 to 12 o'clock. So it's going to go 3 hours, and you're going to have a ton of fun. B, you're going to learn a lot, and C, you get to see me and Sherry, and I think that's already worth the money, and I'd love to see you. Share the heck out of it. As I said, thanks a ton. Thanks a ton. Thanks a ton. I love you all. I hope to see you in our next webinar. And like I said, listen to the old webinars because they're absolutely hysterically funny. Some of them, and some of them are a little bit more serious. But here's the thing. I don't take myself too serious. It's life, and I love to have fun, and I'd love to have it with you. Right now, I spoke all in action, so I hope you can forgive me. This was more of a monologue, and I just went completely into my dominant code, and I brought it to you raw and the way it is. I love you all. Mwah, LOL, Delzinia. See you soon.